All right, now joining us on the broadcast, we've got Mr. John Irath, who's a Senior Policy Director for the Center for Arms Control and Non-Proliferation, is joining us live from Washington, D.C. Now, Mr. Irath, thank you very much indeed for joining us here on this broadcast and beyond. So we're looking at these images of the Iranian reprisals, where the Iranians have now hit back at the Israelis. In your assessment, where is this war headed?
I'm seeing these pictures for the first time myself, but I agree that this is certainly part of a cycle of escalation. Israel struck Iran. Iran is striking back. There is going to be damage and casualties on both sides, and that's certainly a tragedy. I'm a professional diplomat by training, so I always look at these things as a failure of diplomacy. And I think that governments are much better off talking through their problems than resorting to force. So I would like to see them go back to the negotiating table and try to arrive at a peaceful solution, but that doesn't seem to be where things are going right now.
Right, but we were at the negotiating table because for the last several weeks, the Americans were talking to the Iranians. There were several rounds of negotiations that were ongoing. And this is what the American president had been repeatedly saying over and over again, that he wants to give diplomacy a chance. He does not want war to happen. He does not want bloodshed to happen. And he had repeatedly been telling the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu to not stage a unilateral attack on Iran. This is what Trump has said on record. Do you think this was an attack that the Israelis started yesterday night without the express approval of the American President Donald Trump, even though it has since emerged that Americans were quite clearly in the know that this round of escalation was to happen?
I think that it is very clear that this was done without authorization, without approval from Washington. I think that if President Trump had been asked, he would have said that his advice was not to do this, to give more time for diplomacy to work. But for whatever reason, Israel decided that this was the time for force and not diplomacy.
Right.
That's unfortunate, and we see some of the results right now occurring over Israeli cities.
Indeed. Do continue to stay on with us, Mr. Irath. I want you to weigh in on some of the other aspects, but let's take a look at some of these very dramatic images that are coming through from the Israeli cities at the moment. All right, now this is a video that's been put out by the Iranian embassy in India. We do not know as to what the extent of the damage has been, because a lot of these Iranian missiles have also been intercepted. But predominantly the cities of Tel Aviv and Jerusalem is what we know seem to have been hit. There are also reports of some of the Israeli air bases which have been targeted by the Iranian ballistic missiles. Mr. Irath, one of the things that's spoken a lot with respect to the Israeli-American equation is that any time Israel gets into a war, the Americans also get dragged into it. Do you think this time too, in case this war continues to escalate, the United States of America, despite Donald Trump's America First policy, would end up getting dragged into this war?
It's certainly a possibility. I think, though, that President Trump has been very clear that it is his intention not to be involved in other countries' wars and conflicts. He feels that this was a characteristic of the Biden and Obama administrations that he would not want to repeat. So he's going to try to avoid being involved in such conflicts in the future, including what is going on between Israel and Iran now. He has said on many occasions that he would like to reach some kind of deal with Iran. That's the name of his book, The Art of the Deal. And he sees himself as a deal maker and would like to come to some sort of understanding with the Iranian government. That seems to be less likely now that this has occurred, but I don't think he's given up on it.
And also, looking at the scale of the attack that was carried out on Iran by the Israelis as part of this Operation Rising Lion, where several of the Iranian nuclear facilities were targeted. And apart from that, there was a clear decapitation attack in which the top military leadership of the Iranians was completely taken out by the Israelis. With that being the situation at this moment, do you think there is any possibility or any room for diplomatic efforts from here on, at least in the immediate future?
As I said, I'm a professional diplomat, so I think there's always room for diplomatic efforts. But the room is certainly narrowed. The Israeli actions have made it more difficult to find the space to undertake fruitful negotiations. And Iran is in a position where they feel that they have to do something in order to respond. And that's what is going on right now from the dramatic pictures that we are seeing. It's interesting to see that they apparently are targeting population centers, which they had not done in previous attacks against Israel. They tended to look at more military targets. If they're actually targeting population centers, and this is not just some missiles that have gone off course, that would be a significant escalation.
Right. Now, the headquarters of the Israeli military is bang in the middle of Tel Aviv. It's called the Hakiria, or Camp Rabin, as it is called. It is bang in the middle of a city. And we do not know if that has been hit, but that's one of those buildings which is very prominently visible on the Tel Aviv skyline. Let's in fact take a look at what actually transpired a few minutes back when the Iranians struck the state of Israel with their ballistic missiles. Let's take a look.